Is perfection the enemy of interior freedom? My name is January Donovan, founder of the Women's School, where our vision is to rebuild culture one woman's worth at a time. Today, I will tackle this very, I would say, question that most women in our culture today are subconsciously holding themselves up as a metric. What do I mean by that? This word perfection has killed more dreams, has committed more crime of comparison and competition and judgment, and has caused mental exhaustion. So let's break this down real quick. What is perfection? If very simplistically, it's the idea that we are flawless, that we are free of failure, that everything we do and who we are is flawless. So if you really ponder the magnitude of this expected standards of perfection in our culture today, it is damaging to women. I mean, damaging to relationships, damaging to our body, damaging to our family, our health, our mental health, our physical health, everything, because nobody is going to be flawless. It's damaging to our dreams because why try when I can do it perfectly the first time around? If you study the greats in history, any athletes, anybody who dared greatly outside their comfort zone, you will see that it is peppered with imperfection and failure. So it has killed more dreams that we probably had dared to actually imagine. So three very concrete things how we need to switch this perfection, because what's costing us perfection is our interior freedom, and that's why we need to switch it. So first of all, what is interior freedom? It means that we have constant harmony and peace in every part of our life, and there is a freedom in our soul that does not change with the external circumstance. I'm going to say that again, that there's peace and interior harmony in our soul that is not contingent on the external circumstances, politics, life, craziness in the house, everything that is outside of our control. What is in control is our capacity to filter the external world and the external circumstances and see it with the eyes of gratitude, see it with the eyes of opportunity, and see it with the eyes of what can I learn from it? Okay. And so, what happens when we have this metric of perfection, we're always comparing ourselves to something that is inexhaustible. Because think about it. Will our body be flawless until the day we die? Would we be that size X, Y, and Z? Would we think that our relationship with our intimate or significant other would always be free of, I would say, free of disruption or free of conflict? What about motherhood? Does our house, does the way we talk to our children's behavior always going to look as though they are this work of art? No. And so it is a rat race in our mental capacity for freedom. I'm sorry, in our interior freedom, because we're constantly in a mental rat race. And so it's a prison when we think of perfection as our metric and as our goal. So, what does perfection lead? It leads us to comparison, which eventually leads to self doubt. Number two, it actually leads to a lot of fear. Why? Because that's not me and this is me. I'm so afraid to try anything because if I try, it's not perfect. Therefore, I'm not going to try it, which leads to a lot of anxiety because we have bent up frustration that we want to be able to expand ourselves. But because we are crippled by fear, it makes us anxious. Number three, it leaves us into this state of inaction because when we expect things to be perfect, then we end up procrastinating and then we are frustrated because we are not moving forward in who we are in our dreams and the things that we want to achieve in our life. And so it really is a crippling, it's a paralysis to even think of perfection as a metric of achievement. So, what should we do? Number one, words become flesh, which means we have to get rid of words that we do not want to apply in our lifetime. So the word perfection, because of the connotation it actually has in our culture, we can get rid of it. It doesn't have to be part of our language. Number two, we need to look at and really have a self awareness of, what am I comparing myself to? What is this? What does the perfection mean? What is a perfect mom? What is a perfect career? What is a perfect husband, relationship, marriage, friendship? What is that perfect life that I'm thinking in my head that I am trying to strive towards? However, it feels like I'm constantly failing myself, because the metric could be the reason why you feel like a failure. Perhaps perfection, that you're trying to achieve, it's what's causing this, I would say, unnecessary stress and anxiety that we are experiencing, because we forever feel as though we are never good enough. And so we have to replace our idea of perfection to a progress based on an intentional design of the woman we're becoming, which is what we teach in the women's school. We have to really learn the language and how to talk to ourselves, how to talk to people, and how to design our self image so that we are not seeped into this world of perfection that robs us of that interior peace, interior freedom, that's synonymous, that we all crave for. Our human heart craves for harmony and peace from within, where we can experience things in a way where we can actually be present, right? When we're looking at a sunset, or we're looking at our children smiling, or we're looking at a beautiful conversation, we are not derailed because we're thinking of all the noise and external noises that's there. Instead, we can look at it with such peace and clarity that even though it is not exactly the way we designed it, it is still peaceful, and it is still a place where we can be fully present, because we don't have a false expectation of perfection in our life. And that is my invitation to you, is that let this be a place for you to ponder where perfection has crippled you in different parts of your life, and perhaps inviting you to a deeper interior freedom, which is deeper harmony from within, so that you no longer live from the external circumstances of your life and get derailed day in and day out and live a life that feels like a roller coaster. Rather, the strength of the woman is that whatever circumstances comes your way, you are consistently resilient and taking all the different sufferings of your life with ice of gratitude, opportunity, and wisdom. That way, everything becomes a gift. That way, we don't allow anything to interrupt that interior freedom, because that interior freedom is where we find the reservoir to be able to give more of ourselves to the world. And all this is really a skill set. All of this is a way of thinking. It's a way of being. It's a mindset, and it's a skill set. And that's what we teach in the women's school, is that how do you become that resilient woman who is not, determined by the external circumstances of the world. Rather, you are that pillar. If you think about a strong wind, you're not getting blown right and left. Critics, politics, what your children thinks, what your friend thinks. You are a pillar that in the midst of a storm, people come to you for shelter, because the strength of your interior makeup is what makes people want to be able to shelter to you like a reservoir. And so that is why we get rid of the metric of perfection, because it derails our capacity to become a pillar for humanity, so that we can remain a reservoir of generosity for so much of the world, when we are not a constant wind getting blown from one thing to another, because our strength is not derived from the external circumstances, rather from our interior freedom. We know who we are, we know the woman we're designing, and we know our purpose, all of which is interior. That is a strength that we hope to impart to you in the women's school. And that is what we believe will change the world. My name is January Donovan, founder of the Women's School, inviting you in a wholeness journey where you get to deepen your awareness of who you are as a woman and redesign your capacity and your legacy to change the world moving forward. And that begins with you transforming your interior world, your interior freedom. Thank you.